Coaches.
McLovin, didn't you say you were the Christian Laettner of Dartmouth junior varsity team?
6'2".
He's a UNLV.
Yeah, he's in my head, just like.
Well, there's a lot of room for people in your head.
Dan, right now he's the Pelfrey.
Oh, wow.
I should have known not to take on a professional athlete.
Well, it's happening. Coming back.
8-2.
All right, we're going to have to pick this up. You want to come over?
8-2, I'm up.
Were you in the Olympics for paintball?
You want water?
I'm good.
All right.
There's one here if you need it. This is you, make 7-0.
Oh my God, that was terrifying for some reason.
He didn't move 1 foot. McLovin, he like this.
I was speaking at St. Xavier School in Cincinnati
You're back.
2 weeks ago.
ESPN's latest 30 for 30 documentary, I Hate Christian Laettner, airs Sunday night at 9 Eastern, right after the 2015 NCAA tournament brackets are revealed. Also, you can learn more about Christian Laettner Basketball Academy, where you can learn how to take a charge. Go to, what is that website here? Do you know what your .com is? To learn more about the Christian Laettner Basketball Academy?
www.theclba.com.
CLBA.com. Christian Laettner Basketball Academy. And you're even competitive playing ping pong there with McLovin.
Well, I didn't make any more friends because I'm up 8-2 on McLovin for sure.
I hate Christian Laettner.
Did you have any part in the title here? I Hate Christian Laettner?
You know, I did not have any part in the title here. I think Rory, the filmmaker, and ESPN mainly came up with it. But I think Rory got a feel for it and thought of giving it that title because when he and I were doing our main interview for the movie and he was getting to know me and hanging out at my house a little bit, I showed him some funny stuff. And one of the funny things I showed him was, you know, a Kentucky fan wearing that shirt. And he saw that I could laugh about it. So I think he thought that was neat, that at least Laettner can laugh at himself a little bit.
What did your kids say when they found out, you know, there's a title of the documentary called I Hate Christian Laettner?
Well, that's a good point you brought up, because if I lived in a vacuum all by myself and nothing I did affected anybody else, I would be totally fine with the title. But I do have children, I have a wife, I have parents who don't necessarily like the title. So I had to sit my children down and talk to them a little bit about how to handle it if someone teases them or someone says something on Instagram about it, and just how for them to handle it.
When did you yourself had to embrace this? That you could wear the black hat. You could be the bad guy. But at what point did you say, if this is how I'm going to be portrayed, I can either try to run away from it or embrace it?
Well, the thing that stinks in life is that sometimes perception is reality, and I don't like that. And the first person who ever said that to me was Mark Cuban when I was on the Mavericks. And I don't like that life is like that and you can't really help it. But, you know, it's just part of what happens. And when you're a celebrity or a public figure, sometimes people can say things to you that you're not particularly proud of. But I didn't know this would happen, Dan, when I was at Duke playing basketball. The only thing I cared about then was being a good basketball player and making my team win. And if the opposing teams or the opposing fans didn't like you, then that's just part of the game, because you're trying to beat them. You're trying to kill their team and stomp on their throat and never let them win. And those were the most important things to me at that time. And then when you're 40, 45, and you start to realize how it's all morphing into this other thing, you wish you could go back in time and maybe do things a little different.
Would you play differently?
No, I wouldn't play different, but I wouldn't try to work up the ire of the opposing crowd or the opposing fans so much, and just keep my focus on the team and what's going on in the court. But people have to realize that I was being attacked not only on the court from the players, but also from the fans, and sometimes you fight back.
Would you hate Christian Laettner?
No, I wouldn't, but there are times in my life where I'm not proud of what I do.
But playing against you, if you were in college, let's say you were on Michigan or UNLV, would you have hated you?
I hated everyone I played against. We just needed that attitude playing for Duke basketball. You know, I was we were all very aware of what the media was saying about Duke in 86, 87, 88, 89. And that was that Duke can't win the big game.
Yeah.
Duke can get to the Final Four, but they can't win the championship. So we were very aware of that.
And soft reputation.
And soft reputation, and Coach K would talk to us about it. So I tried to take it to the highest level in terms of toughening up, being intense, being very passionate, because I didn't want people saying that about us anymore, that Coach K couldn't win the big game or Duke basketball couldn't win the big game.
We're talking to Christian Laettner. The documentary is I Hate Christian. It's weird to say that, and you're sitting right here. Like, I hate Christian Laettner. The opposing players that are on this documentary, who said something that was either illuminating or surprising about you?
Nobody, because I've seen it. I've seen
Did
it.
anybody say anything nice about you? Was that the surprise?
No, I wasn't surprised in that regard either. But I've seen it and heard it all before, and Roy did a good job of putting new things in there, because the Fab Five, their movie that they made a few years ago, you already heard the bad stuff where they're calling me names and stuff like that. And I mean, who can't make a movie and call people names? I mean, but I don't think that's what life is about. So Roy did a really good job putting new clips, new pieces, new ideas in there. And I didn't see anything in there that bothered me too much.
Jalen Rose didn't have nice things to say, though. But he said he had game.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that's really important to me. That's the only thing that really matters. You got to remember, when you're playing for a team or you're playing for Duke University, you only care and you only want your fans to love you and your coaches to love you. And hopefully that happened. I think it did. I get a lot of support from the Duke community. But everyone that we played against, all their fans and all their players and coaches are not going to like you. And you know what? The thing I respect the most is a high-level athlete who is loved universally by everyone, just not his own team. And it's
hard to come by.
It's hard to come by in today's day and age.
Yeah.
But I was with Dr. J about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was universally loved. And that's why I love him and respect him so much, is because it doesn't matter if you were a 76ers fan or a Celtics fan, you still love Dr. J.
How did you get to Duke?
Because I was a good basketball player.
But what kind of offers? And that you could have gone elsewhere.
I only visited 3 schools, Duke, Carolina, and Virginia, because I thought the ACC was the best basketball at the time, and I also thought that the ACC style of basketball fit my game the best.
Kentucky didn't recruit you?
They might have at the very beginning when I was like a sophomore, but I quickly narrowed my schools down to 11, and they were not included in that list.
Was Michigan in there?
Michigan was in there, yes.
How do you think? Did race play any role in players hating you?
No, I think it was pretty universal for me. And across the board, there, white, black, yellow or red, and some of the best fights and games and matches we had out there was against Carolina, because they always had 2, 3, 4, 7-footers to come in there and beat me up, and it was a lot of fun. And I always loved those games that were at a little bit of higher pitch in terms of fighting and intensity.
We'll continue with Christian Laettner. And I also think when people talk about what you did with your college career, they forget that you were in the NBA for, 15 years?
13 years.
13 years? Because, sometimes when you're talking about great players of all time and you're in that discussion, greatest college players of all time, they tend to go, yeah, but what happened in the pros? And I don't know if the dream team may have hurt you by actually being on it and the expectation level, or where you were drafted, how high up in the draft, like all those things. Did that affect perception of you? How great? Give that some thought, and we'll come back.
Okay.
All right. That's called a tease here in the business. And by the way, would you stomp on Paulie's chest? Can you reenact the Kentucky?
I'll stomp on anyone who wants me to.
Paulie, so Aminu Timberlake.
Yes.
That you're going to play the role of him.
I'm from Chicago, too.
All right, and Christian will stomp on your chest
Dream
during
come
the
true.
live. There you go. We'll continue with Christian Laettner. I hate Christian Laettner. This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Get him good.
If they do a documentary on I hate Dan Patrick,
How big are the shoes?
17.
17?
17.
All right, well, you know this well. Where was Timberlake?
what happened before this play?
What happened before, if you watch the game, Feldhaus or someone pushes me into my hoop, into my defensive hoop.
Okay.
And I thought it was Timberlake. So then like 20 seconds later, I get fouled and Timberlake's right underneath me. And I just give him a little, like that. And it ain't so bad, but everyone, I mean, what about what Rod Sellers did to me? You saw that.
Yeah.
That's assault. What I did to Timberlake was nothing.
But this is all people remember.
Yeah,
Well, it's
you're
because
right.
you did it.
You're right.
That's why.
And because of the game.
Yeah.
Because of the game. If,
Like
you know,
Make-A-Wish.
If you had lost that
go.
game.
Like
Oh,
make
if
so
it
yeah.
wasn't a
living out
great
all your
game, no
dreams.
one would
That
talk
was
about
pretty
it.
cool.
Things
If
you
I
don't think
didn't
you ever
go
have a
10
chance
for
to do
10,
growing up.
10 for 10 and hit that shot, no one would talk about
He
it.
took it
Living
easy
out
on you,
all
though.
of your
I was a little
dreams.
disappointed.
You took it easy on me. I was thinking.
And is Pelfrey still coaching?
He is somewhere, yes.
Yeah. And that was such a gritty team, that Kentucky team. Like, they weren't stars,
Nice.
and you just
And
ruined
Timberlake.
them.
And Mashburn fouled out. If he didn't foul out,
No way.
it might have been a different game.
No
He was
way. Get out of here.
Well, back then, he was
Think.
pretty much unstoppable.
Right.
Yep.
No way.
Then he changed his name to Justin.
And became a singer.
So Hurley's doing good, I think.
Hey, Dan. Coincidence? This is where Timberlake transferred after he left.
He did?
Saw that.
Amazing.
Just random.
Yeah.
He transferred from Kentucky?
Yeah, he played, I think, one more year after that and then transferred to Kentucky.
Well, he
I
had
didn't
to.
even
He was
know that.
shamed. He couldn't return to Kentucky after
I
he
didn't
stepped
even
on
know
it.
that.
Yep. Ruined his life.
Oh, dear.
ruined his life.
ESPN's latest 30 for 30 documentary, I Hate Christian Laettner, Sunday night, 9 Eastern on the mothership after the 2015 NCAA tournament brackets are revealed. And you can learn about the Christian Laettner Basketball Academy. Go to the CLBA.com to learn more about that. And you can learn how to fake a charge. Did you guys actually have
Why do you keep
somebody?
talking about this fake charges
You
so
guys
much?
took charges all the time. That's really where I got tired of watching Duke, because you guys would fake the charges.
Even
here.
me?
Well, I think people actually did want to run into you.
On purpose, yes.
Okay, who started the flopping? Shane Battier
You-
or Hurley?
Well, I'm glad you say that. I think it started a little bit after my time
Okay,
there.
all right.
But I will be honest with you and tell you, even when I watch Duke play today, I'm like, ugh, gosh, they call
There's
charges.
too much of it.
Too much. And especially at Cameron, they do get some of those calls. But when it's a neutral gym or opposing, it's not quite as bad. But there are times where I'm even like, geez, did we get this much of the benefit of the doubt from the refs when I was playing? And everyone says yes.
Yes, you did. During the live look-in, if you were watching, Paulie played the role of Aminu Timberlake, the Kentucky forward who had his chest stomped on by Christian's size 17 sneakers there. Did you ever talk to Timberlake after that?
Never, no.
No.
Not once.
No. But he wasn't the bad guy in that, like the play before. It wasn't his fault, right? But you thought it was his fault that he pushed you?
A few plays before that play, I got pushed, into the hoop stanchion underneath my defensive hoop, and I thought it was Timberlake, but it wasn't. After seeing the game for so many years after that, I realized that it was Feldhaus or Pelfrey. So I thought it was Timberlake. That was a mistake, and then 20 seconds later, I shoot, I get fouled, and Timberlake's right underneath me. And I made a split-second decision that was a bad decision. And, the refs punished it for me. They gave me a technical.
Are you surprised it wasn't worse, that they didn't kick you out?
Not at all, because it wasn't very vicious. I think they looked at the replay, and they saw that it was really a love tap.
If you had not won that game, would it have been different in how they view that play?
You mean over the course of history? Yes, I think so, because people don't like the fact that, hey, he did something wrong right here. He stepped on a guy's chest when the guy was down on the floor. And then he goes and doesn't miss a shot all game and then hits the game-winning shot. I think people don't like that. That's not fair, because everyone thinks that life is fair, but life is not fair.
Take me into the huddle. Coach K is gathering you guys. And was Grant Hill going to take the ball out of bounds? Is that the way the play was designed?
Yes, that play is called home run, and we ran it 2 weeks before the Kentucky game against Wake Forest, and Grant kind of threw a curveball that took me out of bounds, and I wasn't able to get a shot up, so we lost that game. And from that game forward, we worked on that play in practice for 2 weeks, and Grant kept working on his passing, and I kept working on my shooting, and I think they are also put some different players in Grant's spot to see who can throw the best pass, and it was decided that Grant could throw the best pass. And we worked on it, and that's what the genius of Coach K is. He works on end-of-game situations because you'll never know when you need it.
Grant Hill calls it the pass. You call it the shot.
It's the pass, it's the play, it's the shot.
Okay, what was tougher, though? The pass or the shot?
Of course the shot. I mean,
You had nobody really guarding you.
and Grant had nobody within 20 feet of him except the ref.
He had to throw a perfect strike.
I mean, I'm a big target at the other end of the floor, Dan. and he's got no decisions to make. He knows, I got to throw the ball to Christian.
Did you ever talk to Pelfrey? You hit the jumper over Pelfrey. Did you ever talk to him after?
I don't think so.
I don't know what you would say, but
You don't say anything. He's gotten a lot of flack over the years for, play more defense, put your hands up. And
but you actually turned. You had the presence of mind to fake, turn, and shoot the jumper.
well, I knew I didn't have to rush it. I had 2.1 seconds, so it's not just like a catch it and blind heave up,
Yeah.
where it's all luck. I had a chance. I had time to gather myself and make a basketball move. So that's why I made like a post move turnaround shot from 17 feet. And, the best thing is that for 4 years when I was at Duke, when practice was over, one of the coaches, Coach Pete Gaudet, would always grab me and take me to do extra shooting for about 15 minutes. And before he released me to the locker room, he would say, okay, run to the half court, come back, and he'd say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get me to work on a buzzer-beating shot just to get you used to that situation, a little extra pressure on your last shot before you get to call it a day and go into the locker room, take a shower. So I can't thank him enough for training me all those years like that.
I find it ironic. I was asking you about Bobby Hurley, and I said, how's Hurley doing? And you said, he's now in your hometown coaching Buffalo,
Yep.
the University of Buffalo.
Yep. And his punishment for life is that he has to work with people from Buffalo for as long as he holds on to that job. And, Bobby was the best point guard that a player like me could ask for because I love to move around and just catch the ball and lay it in. And that's what Bobby Hurley was great at. He was so good at passing. He never wanted to shoot the ball. And there's no one that I loved playing with more than him because you don't want to play with a quarterback who's always looking to run. You want to play with a quarterback who's willing to give that ball up, and that's what Bobby was great at.
What's your favorite Coach K story? What's the one that you tell your kids or you tell your grandkids?
Well, I don't necessarily tell my kids this story, but my favorite Coach K stories is when he would walk in the locker room, slam the door, lock the door, and kick everyone else out. And it was just us, 12 guys on the team, and him. And he would get a chance to yell at us, and he would get a chance to...
So he'd kick the assistants out?
He'd kick everybody out.
Manager, everybody.
Managers, assistants, everybody. And whenever he did that, where it was just he, himself, and us players, it was the greatest thing because we'd go out and play our best basketball. And he would get really tough on us, really demanding, high expectations, curse at us a little bit, but then we'd go and run through a wall for him. And those were the times with him that I loved the most, when he was really tough on us.
Did you ever make fun of him?
Some of the guys on the team did every once in a while, but I didn't because I just had too much respect for him.
Wait.
I swear to God, some of the guys had nicknames for him.
Okay, so...
But I wouldn't do it. I would not get involved with it because just too much respect.
You want to do it now?
I don't want to do it now.
You don't want to do it
I
now.
will never do it now.
Okay, so Davis or...
I'm not going to name any
Henderson
names.
or Hurley?
I plead the fifth. I'm not going to. You're not going to get that out of me, Dan.
No? Grant Hill? Grant would never do that.
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. But when someone's such a drill sergeant on top of you and holding you to such high levels of expectations, sometimes that comes out and sometimes we tease them a little bit, and I tried not to do that.
When does Coach K retire?
I think he retires when his body gives out. I think his mind and his mental capacity for the game of basketball will be there until the day he dies. But I think if his body or his back or his hip goes out, he might have to quit. But I think he's got at least 3 to 5 more years in him.
What will surprise me in this 30 for 30?
I don't know. It's a lot of the same stuff that's already been out there. It's just spun a different way and manipulated a different way. But I saw the movie already, and I didn't see anything in there that was, earth-shatteringly new. But
Anything make you emotional?
No. The thing that made me the most emotional was Gene Wojciechowski's book a few years ago called The Last Great Game, because in that book he talked about how once a year my whole team would jump on me because they'd be tired of me picking on them and teasing them and pushing them and trying to motivate them. And once a year when I would walk in the locker room, they would all gang up on me, and like all 11 guys would jump on me, and they'd be kicking and throwing punches and kind of showing me that they loved me. But in a tough way, because that's all I was showing them. I was showing them tough love because I wanted to win.
So it was emotional because you realized the toll you were maybe taking on them, or you didn't realize how tough, or what?
No, not the toll I was taking on them, but the fact that it was love, and it can be called tough love
Okay.
or a different type of love. But that bond that we created from spending all those hours practicing and playing together and winning championships together will never be broken.
Favorite story from the Dream Team?
Favorite story from the Dream Team is after every practice, I would grab whoever was willing to play with me and go down at the other end of the court and play one-on-one. And sometimes it was Chris Mullins, sometimes it was Patrick Ewing. Larry Bird was injured a lot, so I was like the practice dummy to keep him, up to speed. So my most fond memories of the Dream Team were, of course, winning the gold medal and representing my country, but playing one-on-one with those legendary basketball players at the end of practice.
What was Jordan like?
Jordan was awesome. He was the best player by far on the team, and he was fun at teasing me about the Duke Carolina thing, so we had a good time.
Did you ever feel out of place?
I felt out of place the whole time, and what I really felt was like I was the last man on the ladder. I was the 12th man on the team. I was the 12th rung on the ladder. And I loved that feeling because if you remember, I went from the pinnacle, senior, back-to-back championships, player of the year. From that, 2 months later, I'm the least important guy on the team. And I love that because there's no pressure. The team's going to win even if I have a bad game. So there was no stress, and I really enjoyed it.
What souvenirs do you have? Memorabilia?
I have some stuff, but to tell you the truth, and I hope this doesn't sound cold, but those things aren't that important. They're just a trophy or they're just a gold medal. But I do have my gold medal. I have some signed balls from the whole Dream Team, and those are important to me. So
You got your Duke jersey?
I got some Duke jerseys, and I know who purchased my Kentucky Duke jersey, through the auction last year.
How much did it cost?
And I'm friends with him. I can't remember. But he and I are friends now, and we're thinking about putting it up in Cameron for a few years and letting it sit there, as a memento. So it's good to know that it's being taken care of.
I would like to buy the shoes that you stepped on Timberlake with.
Yeah.
Just the what was it, left one or right one? Do you remember?
I think it was my right
Yeah,
foot.
I'd like to have just the right foot there. That'd be nice. Well, where are we with my reality show that I had for you? I mean, you do this documentary, and I said, I want you in your full Duke uniform. We go through Kentucky. Remember that? You said you don't even stop in Kentucky for gasoline.
I remember the part where I said I need a police escort. But I go in Kentucky a little bit because I love muskie fishing, you know that, and I'm going to go there more because they have muskies in their lakes, Cave Run Lake, and I love muskie fishing. Check me out on Facebook, The Muskie Life, and I revolve everything I do around that. So all my basketball camps and my basketball academies are all in northern states, so when I'm not on the court, I can be muskie fishing.
Okay, but how are you received in Kentucky? It's one thing to be out there with fish. But if I took you into Lexington with your Duke uniform on and we got gasoline and went to an IHOP.
It would not be a pretty thing.
It would not.
I would keep my hat on and my sunglasses
No.
on. But, in and out real quick. We can spend some time in Louisville, I think, but not in Lexington for sure.
They love you in Louisville Because of what you did to Kentucky?
Yes, I'm accepted a little more in Louisville.
The documentary is I Hate Christian Laettner, and you can see it Sunday night, 9 Eastern on the Mothership. Great to see you. You look great, and good luck with this tour.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate
All right,
it.
he's Christian Laettner.